I'm Austin.
I'm Logan.
And let's get it going. We've been away for a while, but this is kind of our reset, start again.
I think we've said that before on the podcast, but we'll try and stick to it this time.
Yeah.
Before we're doing the classic two guys talking. It wasn't really any direction.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that much fun.
No, it wasn't. And it felt like more of a task, and that wasn't what we started trying to do with this. We were trying to have it be interesting to not only you guys, but also to us, something that we look forward to doing. So we lost that a bit, but hopefully we get that back.
I think we found it, though. We're starting off with, as you guys might have seen or whatever, not rebranding, but we're going into stuff that we like to talk about, which is health and wellness, having
a
lot of fitness stuff, nutrition a little bit, becoming a better person just by yourself and with relationships that you have, just becoming a better person in general, really. So that's just something fun.
Yeah.
It's fun for me to think about, and I like to read different books on that kind of topic. So, especially since, the last 2 years or so, I've really started to change the person I am. Before that, a lot of people who are listening knew me or know me still. I got really fat in university. I went there and I drank, and that's pretty much all I did.
Yeah.
Drank and I gained weight. I got up to 245 pounds. Now I'm down to 190 or 195. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get down to 185, but we'll get there. But for the last 2 years, just slowly but surely reading books and figuring out stuff that works. I don't know. I've become happier just in general, for one, and two, my relationships seem to become better because I'm not as antisocial, and I take care of myself. People like people that take care of themselves.
Yeah. Well, it's about, all of us to some degree work on ourselves, some more than others. Some people just like to go with the flow of life, but I feel like both me and you, in separate but similar ways, both constantly are, as of late, have been trying to improve ourselves, especially during quarantine. You've been doing it for a while. I've only kind of started taking it. I've obviously trained a lot with rugby, but doing it more seriously and taking a more well thought out and planned approach and more dedication to it. I feel like I've, especially with my fitness goals, just trying to be better in relationships. I feel like I've improved a little bit. There's always a lot of work to do, but that's just part of life. Just constantly trying to improve. You're not going to be perfect.
Yeah. I'll try not to make this into just a overall general episode, but the biggest thing that I've realized with over the last 2 years, and as I keep reading and doing stuff more, is in today's day and age, it's about going all in or doing nothing.
Yeah.
But I found the biggest results when I did stuff incrementally. So, for example, if you follow a lot of successful people, you'll see that they work out and they eat healthy 3 times a day, and they don't take cheat days, and they take a ice bath or a cold shower, and they read and they meditate and they this and that and this and that. And people will go, well, shit, I got to do all of that.
Yeah.
But the thing that I found was if I started with one and I did that till it was a routine, and then I slowly added another thing and another thing, then it didn't become it wasn't a radical change that really fucked me up. It just became my life. Now things were easier to do, especially if you don't want to do them because it's just something you've been doing for a long time. But I feel like if I picked up a book and I went and had the cold shower and I meditated before bed, and I did all these things, I forced myself to do them right off the bat, I don't think
it works
that stuff would work, which is very, very interesting, especially in our society.
Well, it's about change, right? So your body needs time to adapt, even to something that you want to do. Your body's becomes set with routine. And I find that's what works best for me, is it just becomes part of my routine. If my routine's not working out, my routine isn't working out, and there's no, I usually won't just hit a random workout here. I actually like it better when workouts are scheduled or I plan ahead, because if I'm just going, workout at some point today, it doesn't work. The same can be said about stuff like meditation's very tricky for me. It's hit or miss, and I find that sometimes it's because I don't really have a set time. Well, I used to try to do it before I went to bed, but I found that I fall asleep. So and that's not getting the best benefits out of it. And I couldn't do it when I just woke up because I wake up at different times, and sometimes I have tons of energy and the time to go through the meditation, and then other times I just don't have that time or energy to sit there and focus on the breathing without almost falling back asleep.
Which that's back to that's just back to one thing at a time. Because, especially if you're a person that does follow the successful people, you see that they wake up at 6 a.m. every day, or they wake up at 8 or whatever it might be. Yeah. So just figuring out your meditation part, whether it takes a week or it takes 6 months or it takes another year. Yeah. You get that down pat. Okay, well now it's ingrained in me. I got this. I do it now. Yeah. Whether or not you have to use a scheduling system or it's just whatever you're feeling like on the day, that's still in increments. Yeah. So it takes a while, but
my biggest, yours, one of the things you've basically said you found is you go one step at a time, right? Mine isn't one step at a time. I think mine, when I know that I'm doing well and when I can follow, is my nutrition. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest thing. When I was in high school, my nutrition was terrible. I was either eating the wrong foods and too much of it, or the right foods and not enough of it.
Portion control's a bitch.
Well, yeah, but also just knowing your calories, like for your goals. I am a huge person for counting calories. I use an app for it, and following your macronutrients. Which, for those who don't know, basically a quick rundown without getting into too much depth, because I want to go into that on a separate occasion, is basically your body at a specific weight and height and how much activity you have in a day. In order to maintain that weight, you have a specific set of calories you need per day, like just resting calories. So, for example, for me, I think at this moment right now, I'm 190, and I think I'm around, like, just resting to stay at 190 without doing any activity. I need to have 3,500 calories a day, which is a lot, actually, compared to some people. But I have a heavier weight compared to others, and it's about knowing your body. Whereas if I'm trying to add weight, I'll increase by about 250 pounds, depending on how fast I want to gain those pounds. For example, I would either 250, 500 if I'm trying to gain really quick, or if I'm just going extreme in terms of trying to add weight, which isn't very healthy. I would go up to 1.5 pounds per week as the goal, trying to lose, which is about 750 calories above my caloric normal. And then,
so you're trying to gain weight right
now. I am currently. So what I did, so I find that I need to have a either maintain, or I need to be trying to achieve a goal, like a goal weight. I can't just be like, well, you have to stick between 190 and 195, because I'll end up at 197, 198, because I'm like, oh, well, you can go over, you don't need to stay at this weight. So right now, so what I did, and you actually kind of kickstarted this again. So during quarantine, at the first round, I was very strict on this, and I got up to 190. May. Yeah, I got up to 195, and then I tapered off, and I got up to about 205 pounds, which, it happens.
It's a big boy. For you.
For me, that's a very high weight, and for those who don't know, in rugby season, which is what I consider my prime athletic, or my normal usually, I'm around 185, 190. So 205 was very high for me. And then Logan had actually this was just when you had gotten down to 195. Right. So we are very competitive. For those who actually know us, know that we're very competitive. So it kind of kick-started.
Austin saw that I was
he was less than him. And I
did not like that.
So I just decided, hey, watch your eating. But it went beyond that. I decided, well, you also need to be healthy, and this is a quick reminder that when you lose it quick. So basically I decided to go down to 185 very slowly, and in fact it took about a month and a half, because when I started I had gotten a bit down to 195 from just starting to exercise again, but then from really watching my calories I got down to 185 very slowly, and I'm just slowly going back up to 195, and I found I was going up a bit too quick, so I'm maintaining 190 right now.
Okay.
But anyways, going back to what I was trying to say, the big thing that I found this go around that helps me with being able to look the way I want to look
while gaining weight
or losing weight is macronutrients. So for those who don't know, there are 3 basic macronutrients that you need to follow. Those are your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. You need I need on average 30% fats, 50% carbs, and 20% proteins. Now that's hit or miss. You have a few more carbs one day, you have a few too many fats one day.
And does that change for different people, how much
that changes. I think, personally I go through an app, so I don't know how different it is. It doesn't change much for me, but my physiology doesn't change that much. It's mainly
but like a different person
with a different
build,
less activity might need more carbs. So someone who's very active like me, I have 50% carbs per day. Now, that might be different for someone who's not as active. They wouldn't need as many carbs, and perhaps they would need some more proteins. Or for someone who's very active, they could require a few more fats than other people, because your fats need to, you can't have too many fats, obviously. Right. Because then you're getting into and then there's also unhealthy fats and healthy fats. But you need to have a certain level of fat. Your body can't go without it, which is why people who are at very low body fat percentages often have troubles with their immune system, their just body temperature, things that are regular, that get regulated by your fats. But it changes from person to person from what I can tell. Your main thing is your proteins can change. Mm-hmm. So depending on your weight, that's where you get a lot of the change in your proteins. Yeah. So I think it's 2.5 times your body weight or something. Really, I don't know the math too well on it, but I've been following it like this. And if you just kind of check and it's just not that difficult, at least I say it isn't, when you're trying to hit your calories, so long as I've eaten pizza while I've been doing this. I've eaten burgers. I've eaten Vietnamese food, sushi. I eat all that. But you
account for it, though,
But
right?
you account for it. You have to adjust for it. If it's a big meal, then you have to adjust the rest of your day around that. And then what also comes into play is your daily calories burned. Okay. So I said that I wasn't going to get into this too much, but I guess in order to explain it, I kind of have to.
No, go for it.
Your resting calories per day, for example. So for me, I think I said it was like to maintain 190 is about 33,500 calories. Now, if I I have a big workout and that burns 400 calories. Mm-hmm. I now have to eat 400 more calories. Yeah. Because that's the difference between today where I'm doing that workout or like a rest day where I'm not really walking around that much. I'm not at work. And that's another thing. People who are like at work, like me and you, we walk around all day. We're not sitting for long.
There's a lot of lifting at work too.
You hear people hitting a certain amount of steps per day. That burns a lot of calories versus someone who, for example, sits at a desk. They wouldn't be able to eat as much. So I'm finding now I almost have times where I struggle to hit my calories while still maintaining healthy foods, or balancing my macros.
When you don't eat to where you're supposed to, or you haven't had a balanced day of meals, do you find it affects your mood?
Or like, it's funny. When I first started,
what's the biggest side effect for you? If you have a bad day food wise, besides the weight.
So the weight's obviously the main thing, right? If I don't eat enough, I might drop a pound. And a lot of people say weight is linear. Like, it's not. Your weight will go up and down a couple pounds, which is why, like, when I went to 185, I tried to maintain 185, waking up in the morning, every day for like 3 days to know that I'd actually hit 185. In fact, I tried to get down to 183 as like a random to know that I was there. But besides the weight, energy. Energy is a big thing. The two other areas are energy and recovery, which you might think are different, but they're you might think are the same, but they're quite different. So overall energy in the day, if I haven't eaten enough, I find, or even sometimes when I eat too much, I find my energy's off. I don't have the correct energy to like just go the full day.
Like energy physically, or are we talking mentally? As in like you don't have
physically okay. Is the main thing. Well, I feel like for me, my energy, physically and mentally are very connected, because I don't know why, but when I'm feeling sluggish, my body's feeling sluggish. Mentally, I feel very weak, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And also, if I've had an emotionally draining day, like trying to get a workout in is just extremely difficult. It's possible. That's one way. It's possible if I've been mentally drained, I can get that workout in, but I'm not performing at my best. The other thing is recovery. So if I hit a big leg workout on Monday, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say I hit a big workout on Monday.
Sure.
Which, by the way, dumbest thing, that Tuesday I don't feel it, but Wednesday I do. So if I haven't eaten properly on Monday and Tuesday, for example, when I go to recover on Wednesday, it's so much harder. Like you can roll, you can stretch, you can do all that, and it'll help, but you won't feel 100%. Your legs will still feel off. I find that when I do, like when I'm eating properly and hitting the calories or within about 250,
sure,
my recovery has been a lot better.
Okay.
I don't feel drained. But also that ties in, that's not just that, that's your sleep. That's your sleep, that's your stretching, that's your hydration. Your hydration is so key, and it's something I still struggle with a lot because some days I get a lot of water in and sometimes I don't.
Well, the weirdest thing for me that I found out was you can overdrink water.
Yeah.
Or you can drink water too fast. You can't go the whole day without drinking water and then drink a full water bottle and be like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, no, you need to portion it throughout the day. Well, it's like food, right? If you stuff yourself, let's say for breakfast, technically it gets the job done, but you can overeat still. Just because you shorten the time frame doesn't mean you can't splurge on calories. And in fact, trying to fit it into one, your macros will be way off. And then also, your body won't feel right. You'll be hungry later in the day or earlier in the day, or for breakfast, you'd be hungry later in the day. You'd wake up extremely hungry. And then also, if you don't balance it out, you're more inclined to, on a meal, or in this case for water, overindulge, I should say.
Right.
So you will take in too much water. And there is a very real possibility of drinking too much water. It's not healthy for you, and it can really it's too much of a good
Before we scare
thing.
Someone, what's too much water? Because for me, I'll slowly drink 3 liters of water a day.
Well, that's fine. If you're having I've heard some people they've had like milk jugs and they'll finish like 2 in a day.
That's a lot.
I think 1 is like the max that I would go. And that's actually a good amount if it's spaced out throughout the day. If you take 2 and you're trying to fit, so say you go to school with 2 giant milk jugs and you try to finish them before you get home, that I feel is almost too much water. Your body won't. From my experience, it might be different for others, that I don't feel comfortable with it. And my body, another thing is about, if your body feels uncomfortable, like when you're sick, or if you drank too much water, you need to constantly go to the bathroom or something like that, it's hard to get workouts in, it's hard to eat when you're uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so even though that may not directly affect, like that's not quite too much, it's still very... It might affect other ways that you're trying to be healthy. And really, it's about trying to find a balance.
Okay. Because, I mean, realistically, I don't know anything from anything about, like, why too much water can affect you and this and that and whatever. We can get into it. And I'd actually... Eventually, I'd like to get people on to the podcast that know a lot in specific fields, like why you can't have this much water, or why you can't have this kind of, or like different stuff that actually are going to school for or have gone to school for it, or anything at all. Because it's all this stuff's very interesting.
Well, hydration, and it's also funny because what goes hand in hand. So, for example, people think hydration is like, for example, if you're sweating a lot, you should just drink more. Well, it also might be your sodium level. So stuff like salt tablets, your fizzy drinks, and so your electrolytes are huge, especially with runners or any cardiovascular activity for long durations of time. What I've found personally, and from what I've done on the limited research that you can find out there, I say limited, but this is what I'm passionate about, so I do a lot of research on this, but on my own time. Your body, when you, for example, are sweating, loses so much sodium. So even though you may replenish the water, you also need to replenish the sodium. Otherwise, you get things like cramps. You can't function at your best. You just need to be able to, and it happens a lot. You'll see with people like endurance athletes that are running Ironmans or marathons, or doing long bicycle rides or stuff like that.
Sure.
They will take salt tablets. They will take their drinks will have electrolytes, and the idea there is they do need to, because they're sweating so much, they need to replenish that sodium. So that I almost think is just as important as the water. Now, obviously, hydration throughout the day. So to put it into perspective for what I try to aim for, I don't always hit this. Like I said, I'm still struggling with my hydration.
Right.
I try to go for about 7 tall glasses of water a day. Now,
that's tough to measure.
It's tough to measure, but for what I mean is, like, that would be like a pint, if you were looking at it, trying to picture it, is what we have in the house. Basically, I try to drink a glass of water when I wake up. That's something that I'm doing new. And then I try to, once every 1 or 2 hours, go, okay, have you drank water in the last 1 or 2 hours?
Sure.
And have you been working hard in that time? So if I'm at work, I'll go, okay, you haven't had any water today at work, and you've been here for 4 hours. Go have some water. Right? Or, hey, you just had a big workout, and you didn't bring a water bottle down. Go have some water.
Just simple stuff to, like, check in.
Simple stuff, yeah. And that's just common sense. And then I think it's common sense, but obviously we're talking about it. But just checking in with yourself and going, hey, do I feel hydrated right now? And another good way to check is, it sounds a little gross, but is your pee clear? Right. Which is something we all kind of laugh at, but it doesn't necessarily need to be clear, but it can't be a bright, like, or almost orange.
Right.
Like, you need to have as close to clear as possible. Now, once you get to clear, don't continue at that pace. Because what I find then is, I'll get to clear and I'll go, oh, I gotta stay hydrated. So then I'll have like 3 glasses of water, and then suddenly I start feeling unwell. Because I'm over drinking water.
Okay.
Now, I don't know the science behind this. I might be completely wrong. I should say that.
I haven't just what you
hydration.
Know.
I'm just getting into trying to work on my hydration.
But you're just focusing on what you know.
But on what I know from my personal experience, that's what I go off of. The other thing is electrolytes. So whether it's... I personally don't recommend Gatorade, but if it's the way you can get electrolytes, then do. Some sort of drink like that once or twice a day.
Okay. Going back a sec, you said you checked in with water. Do you do that with anything else in your day? So, like, do you do that? Do you check in with yourself going, okay, have I had, do I need a snack? Am I feeling anxious? Do I need to just breathe for a sec? Do I need to just just calm down for a second? Do I need to go meditate or take a deep breath or just get away from the situation? Or do you take mental cues like that? Or do you just focus on the hydration and fuel portion? Because for me, I know I do the mental part more.
If I would say that each of our strengths, your strength is with the mental side of it, with being mentally sound. Mm-hmm. I like to focus on my nutrition and my fitness, but I still struggle a lot with remembering to, okay, you're very anxious right now. Take a break.
Right.
And go meditate. I find maybe it's just the way I've grown up, which is funny because we're very similar. Mm-hmm. But I have a very don't acknowledge it, keep going forward.
Push attitude, it down, deal with
which
it later.
A lot of people laugh at because they're like, well, you know that's wrong. And I know that's wrong, but
it's very subconscious thing to do.
I've done it my whole life. And it's a very real thing that people do. And me and you joke about it all the time. But it's something that I have to work on, which is why I'm trying with the meditation. I'm trying with even reading. Because in my mind, my most cathartic experience, which kind of like brings me back, is working out, or more specifically rugby.
Right.
Because that's my release. That's how I get out. So when I'm playing rugby, I find myself, I'm very mentally sound, because any sort of frustration I can work out in a very primitive way of, okay, now go hit some people, or go run a lot, or go lift some weights. But I need to work on meditation, just breathing. I was stretching 2 nights ago. I was stretching on the stairs. And I was like, okay, well, if you want to listen to something, but I'm not going to listen to some pop thing.
Right.
Some pop music that's either going to amp me up or whatever, or be some lyrics about this, that, or the other thing. Like, let's try just ambient noise. So I just searched up ambient noise, and first of all, I was able to go deeper in my stretches. I was able to hold it longer. It was less uncomfortable, and on top of that, my breathing, when I was just focusing on my breathing, I felt very, like it was almost the same as meditation for me, like as the same as when I've done guided meditations.
Right.
And I don't know what it was about this particular, I tried to recreate it later in the night when I was actually trying to meditate. I didn't do a guided one through an app or anything like that. I just tried to put on the music, put on a timer for 5 minutes, and focus on my breath. And I found I couldn't do it. And maybe that's just work on it, less time.
It'd probably be a work on it thing. Meditation's a very, very long term.
It's very long term work on it. Maybe it's just time. Like, I should have shortened it to 2 minutes instead of doing 5 minutes, just to start out. But for whatever reason, when I was on the stairs, it was very effortless. Mm-hmm. So,
and do you breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, kind of thing?
Well, I do different. So yeah, I do. I breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth.
I didn't realize how much more benefits that gives you versus just breathing through your mouth, like most people would do throughout the day. Not realizing that the mouth is supposed to be for emergency breath. Yes, and you're supposed to breathe through your nose whenever possible. You can, until I don't know, you're doing cardio or whatever it might be. So it's something cool that I really try to ask people about that, because not everyone you don't focus on your breath.
Focus on it.
You really don't, and most people will say like, oh yeah, I focus on my breath, but they think about like their chest expanding or their stomach expanding in and
rather
out.
Than their chest like up.
Right.
Yeah,
because there's 2 different types of breathing with that. But if you focus on through the nose, I found that I almost was overstimulated when I focused on it for one day. I spent one day after hearing that, you're supposed to breathe through your nose, and I just spent the whole day, I had the day off, I spent it just focusing on, can I breathe through my nose the whole time? And I went to bed that night feeling like, oh, holy shit. Like, I just felt like I had too much oxygen.
Yeah, you were over-oxygenated.
It was insane.
Well, so that basically, Now, I'm not sure if this is what it is, but this is my guess. When you're breathing through your mouth, right?
Yeah.
And I could be completely wrong, and tell me if you've heard differently. When you're breathing through your mouth, everything that's in the air, the pollen, the dust, like little
you have
whatever you're breathing it in,
where you're going.
it's not pure oxygen. Whereas when you're breathing through the nose,
you have the filters.
You have the filters, and it filters, so everything that's coming in is pure oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
That's just really, really helping your blood, and also focusing on healthy breathing. Itself will, just the fact that you're focusing on it, I find your body will then be more efficient. It's like if you're...
We do so much subconsciously throughout the day
that
the more that you can actually consciously do something, like for example, even when we're driving, for example, you have to drive with music or drive with a podcast. But if you can just spend the whole time driving and focusing, so you don't have a portion of your drive home, for example, where you're like, what
happened? How did I not crash?
Yeah, how did I just go the last 20 seconds without remembering I was driving? Because your subconscious takes over. So I feel like focusing on those small things just helps you throughout the day to feel more clear, because the more you're subconsciously doing things, the more you can do stuff wrong. Like even, for example, listening to you versus actively listening to you.
Yeah, there's a difference. There's me hearing, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to respond with this, or I'm going to respond to that, versus understanding what you're saying, trying to, and not just like, okay, he's saying this, but, well, I still have a question about this. Should ask it, fully understand everything, versus, like I said, just listening for the sake of having a response.
I find I'll probably say this so many times throughout the next couple episodes, but I find it's the most rewarding experience is when you're actively listening and you have your full, all you're thinking about is what that person's saying. You have your full attention to that person or to the people or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
I feel that at least, let's say for in a relationship I have.
Yes, big time.
For example, if we're sitting on the couch watching TV or whatever, that's a classic thing that everyone does. It's great. But if I turn off the TV and we spend the time talking, even if it's about bullshit, that's just, how was your day? Oh, my day was, and then how was your day? And I find that it's more rewarding. I go home at the end of the day, or she goes home at the end of the day. We feel like made progress through our relationship. And of course, there's going to be stalling points.
Yeah.
But like even between us, if we spend the day where I'm actually listening to you, then I feel like we get more out of the day, and we don't go to sleep as much hating each other as usual.
As we always do.
But if I'm spending the day listening to you while I'm on my phone, for example, well, you don't feel like I have the full attention towards you, which would piss you off too.
Yeah.
That's one. And then two, of course, I don't get the same interaction. You might say it, and then the next day, you'll be like, remember when I said this? And I go, no, not really.
Not really.
And that could cause hate down the line. So, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's
something I really want to talk about, because actively being there. Because the other day, for example, I was with my partner and my girlfriend. I don't know why I said partner. With my partner. And we were in the car, and we're allegedly doing a car date. Allegedly, because we're in lockdown right now. So allegedly we're doing a lockdown thing. And I was on my phone. We were watching funny videos on TikTok while we were eating as well. We got some drive-through, just cheesy date kind of thing. Yeah. Eating on the phone. I went home feeling like I let her down that evening because I wasn't there. We both took the time out of our days to go and spend time with each other, but I didn't do it. So the next day when we hung out, we back in the car again, driving around. And we drove around and just looked at things and talked about it. And it was just talking, and there was no music. There was no stopping in this. The phones were off. And it was one of the most rewarding dates I've had. Well, I've had.
If ever. Yeah, I know.
And it was just a stupid car ride.
Oh,
at the end of the day.
It's very rewarding to...
It's just being present.
Yeah. And I feel like it's something that we all kind of take for granted almost. And I don't know if that's the right way of wording it, but it's definitely not. But like...
Well, it could be, because people take things for granted. Well, I have a girlfriend or a boyfriend right now, so
yeah.
I might as well... we're fine.
We're fine.
We talked all day over text. Why do I need to talk to you right now? Let's just...
Yeah.
Let's go through these funny videos, or let's watch a YouTube video, or whatever.
No, I 100% agree. And I just think... And that's one of the things that drives me nuts. And especially with... You hear it most commonly, and I'm bringing it back to fitness, but that's what I know, so that's what I'll speak to. People who like gain weight or stop trying when they're with someone, or stop caring about their grooming routine or stuff like that. I find I don't, and I can speak to this because I am in a relationship. I can't just say this like if I were. I am in a relationship, and I find I constantly want to work to be a better version of myself. Mentally, physically, just in appearance, overall as a person, because I'm with this person. I want them to get the best me, not, okay, I'm with them, they like me, I can kind of slack off.
Well, that's really... You are who you surround yourself with. So if you become a very inspired person who wants to work to become better, and then... let's say I'm with you, so I want to be like you, so I do that, and then my friend wants to do it, and this and this and this. Your circle becomes the same thing. So someone coming into the circle, such as a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whoever it might be, you want to. I don't want to say you want to be like that, but I find that people rub off on each other. So being a positive. Like you
it's
see
better
with
to
everything.
Be a positive influence.
Positivity rubs off on people.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There was a lot of rambling today.
Yeah, it was. We'll try to... I think what would be good is we'll start once we kind of... well, first of all, we want to know what you guys think about this.
This was a long one today.
This one, I think, was a long one today. Yeah, it definitely was. So let us know what you guys thought of this. We'll kind of ask those who have listened what they think. And we just want to really know if you liked what we were talking about, if there's something you just don't want us to talk about, if you want us to take a different approach to this.
We'll probably... I just thought of... We might just do it where... Okay, this episode we'll talk about breathing.
Yeah,
this episode we'll talk about working out.
That's what I was thinking about.
So you see the title, and you can tune in if you want to, or you don't have to.
Yeah, so like if I'm talking about nutrition, because I kind of went on a little bit long on this, but like 10 minutes, maybe 15, 20. I'll probably, because that only grazed the surface of what I know.
In quotations.
In quotations. Because... Obviously, I'm not an expert. I haven't gone to school. I haven't fully researched this, but I have taken a lot of personal time.
It's amazing the amount you learn when you care about it or you're interested.
Yeah, so I feel like, and I put some of it to the test, and I feel like I've proven some of it. So I want to share that because I think that's very important to me. So when I'm sharing that, if you want to hear it, if you want to listen, we'll give you as much as we can in these podcasts. And if you don't, that's fine. Just tune in when you want to. Or
also remember that this is it's mostly, if not all, personal advice or maybe not hearsay, but things that we've read throughout the day or that we've seen from other people talking. Because remember,
Unqualified.
I can't. There's that cheesy fucking. We're the Unqualified Podcast, but we are. So there's no professionalism to this. It's just what we like and what we talk about.
Yes.
But yeah,
that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
And let us know what you guys thought. Yeah, episode 7. So
peace.